The Galaxy S24 Ultra is in this weird space. You know, on paper, we see the specs, and in my hand, you have this amazing looking phone. But yet, there is something that's kind of missing. Something left to be desired. Are we expecting too much of phones these days? Or is Samsung coasting because it's been top dog for Android for so long? There are 5 things that can make this phone the best phone, and a few things that may hold it back. I'm Kevin the Tech Ninja, and this is my long-term review of the S24 Ultra. Pricing. The S24 Ultra has everything you want in a smartphone. It ticks all the boxes and even has some boxes that other phones do not have. Now, this is the definition of a flagship phone, but doing that does come at a cost, a hefty one at that. By now, watching this video, you've missed all the pre-order goodies. So as of today, for a 256GB version of this phone, you're paying $1,300. And for the 512, you're paying just under $1,500. But fear not, I will link the best pricing down below because Samsung does adjust the price quite often of these phones. What can I say about design? The S24 Ultra doesn't look much different than the S23 Ultra, but the changes that are made are good ones. If you're coming from an S21 or even S22, then you'd feel like this is a totally new phone. Now, the big change is that this phone now has this flat screen. Now, using this phone made me a believer in flat screens. Everything is just so much better, talking gaming, texting, and even comfortability. The frame on the phone is titanium, which by itself is not a selling point, but this lends to a lighter weight and also additional strength, which helps the phone to be even stronger than previous years. I adore the frame and the design of this phone. This is still considered a big phone, but it's the best in-hand experience of a big phone I've ever had. The display to me is the best new feature of the phone, but it's not about the specs, but the anti-glare screen. The anti-glare is the king of the show. It makes the color stand out no matter the lighting condition, no matter what angle you're holding the phone, you'll see the colors for what they truly are. Now, there are some people that are enjoying the colors as they can be a little bit muted compared to other Samsung phones that I've seen. But as a personal preference, I'm enjoying the muted colors more. Now, Samsung has announced an update that will enhance the vividness of vivid mode, so we'll see if and when that happens. Now, moving down to the speaker, it gets big loud, but it does lose some of that clarity at higher levels. Now, I still think it's good enough to fill up a bathroom or getting ready in the morning, or loud enough to hold a speaker call conversation. Other people are also telling me I sounded very clear, and that was without prompting them to tell me how I sounded. They were just telling me that, like, yo, you sound very good. So this is what it sounds like if I were to call you on the phone right now. Let me know what it sounds like to you. Does this sound pretty good? I'm just holding the phone up to my ear, and I'm in my house and I'm talking into the microphone. There's also something else down here, and it's an old friend. It's the S Pen. There hasn't been a lot of changes to the S Pen in a while. And hardware-wise, this S Pen feels like the same one as last year. Still clicky, and you still have this little button here that can be used for a lot of things. It can be used to capture photos or go between slides or go between your camera modes and a lot of other things too. Now, I won't talk about it a lot in this video since I'm not a heavy S Pen user, but I do have a few things to say about it. Now, on the side of the phone, we have our volume rockers, and we also have our power button that doubles as a Bixby button. And then down here, we have a 5G ultra wideband window. In the hand, this is the best feeling phone hands down. It feels premium, feels strong, and it actually feels worth the price. Now, software-wise, I am really loving what Samsung is doing with One UI. I'm digging the new lock screen, allowing for widgets, and also your notifications too. The lock screen works with the always-on display, and the fingerprint scanner works every single time, even with the screen off. Now, these things are not new, but it's something that definitely stands out to me because once you no longer have it, like this lock screen or the fingerprint scanner, you really start to miss it and really start to feel it. You can even install the app Good Lock to get even deeper customizations on the phone and fine-tune the smallest settings. For me, most of the things I want to do can be found within the normal settings, and I'm very happy with everything as far as personalization. But this right here lets you dive into even more and really customize the usage of this phone. Performance-wise, what can I say? It moves so quick and it feels so smooth overall. I'm sure you can watch speed tests online and see other phones that goes between apps a little bit faster back to back, but as a daily user, everything feels smooth and fluid. And as a person that, uses my phone and not benchmark my phone all day long, I really love the in-hand experience and how apps run. Now, gaming feels great too. With every touch, feels super responsive. Everything feels like it's registering instantly. It's a great feeling. And even these fast twitch shooter games, I feel like I'm really in control. Now, there's a gaming hub that lets you manage your game and allows for even more settings for gaming. So this year, Samsung was very big on AI, and it's fun to use, but it's something that sort of settles into the background as you get past the allure of it. So for me, circle to search is one thing that I really do use quite often. So let's say someone sends me a picture of something and I want to know more about it, or I found something online, I just press and hold at the bottom, and then from here I can circle it. And then once you circle it, it gives you more information about whatever that product is or whatever that thing is. Same thing, we just do circle to search, and we can even just circle like, what is this building? What is this thing? You do circle to search and boom, it tells you exactly what it is as well. Also, there was one time I was sending a text message and I couldn't quite figure out how to articulate exactly what I wanted to say. I didn't want to sound mean, so I did let Samsung take care of it, and it did a pretty great job. Now, on the phone, translation works really well too. I was able to run a couple of examples with people that I know that are fluent in different languages. I was able to successfully order a pizza, and that's a great feature to use if you ever need that. Now, for photos, it's just like what the Pixel can do. It can do things like remove reflections, move objects, or delete people from the frame. Now, same thing on a Pixel, and as long as the image allows it, it works pretty well. It's not magic, but it's just where the tech is now. Expect all the phones moving forward, and it's not going to be a feature pretty soon. It's just going to be expected. All this to say, don't buy this phone just for the AI stuff, as you can get this on any other phone. Maybe not so integrated, maybe not so smooth, but you can still get it. Also, the S23 Ultra and the Z lineup will get this same stuff too. Now, I will say my favorite feature of the S Pen is the screen off memo. This has been around for several years now, but you pull the S Pen out and then you're able to write here. Now, what's nice about that is just a very quick way to like jot some notes down or anything like that. If you need to grab a phone number or anything like that, just really quick, you can grab and start doing that. Now, beyond that, there isn't anything that really has changed with the S Pen a ton. If you're taking notes with the S Pen and you're doing handwriting, it actually will start correcting your handwriting to make it more straight. Now, beyond that, playing around with the S Pen, I haven't found any new features that is something that I should even mention. Okay, guys, we got to move over to cameras. As I was working on this video, Samsung did announce a big update that will address some of the few concerns regarding portrait mode and low light in the camera department. So if something changes significantly with my findings here, I'll do it after the updates video for you guys. But this has been my experience for the past 30 days. So you do have a 200 megapixel main camera. You have a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. You have a 10 megapixel camera with a 3x telephoto lens and a 50 megapixel with the 5x lens. But let's go ahead and run some camera tests and let me know what you guys think.
When it comes to daylight, it's pretty much what you'd expect from any modern day smartphone. The images looks pretty good. You have good color, you have good detail. Portrait mode is very sharp, and there's not really a lot to complain about when you're looking at these images in the first place. And also having advantage of these zoom lenses does make the camera extremely flexible to use. Now, I personally don't think it's the best front-facing camera around, as I think other phones do a better job, like the Pixel, iPhone, and even OnePlus at times. But I still think the images looks fine, especially if you're just uploading to social media in the first place. So this camera has a dedicated night mode, not to be confused with low light. Night mode, I think, is really great. I still think with low light, there's a lot left to be desired. In this example, these lights were actually pink. They look white. In this example on the book, the text you can't even see at all, where other phones were able to capture that. Although the video quality is very good, I do feel that it still overexposes a little bit. So look at this video right here, and look when I correct some of the color through the exposure, you can see it looks a whole lot better. Now, when it comes to other things like stabilization and microphone, it is definitely top of the line.
This phone is just a powerhouse when it comes to video, when it comes to photos, when it comes to making content. This phone is great at doing it. There's definitely a lot of shooting modes on this phone, and I wouldn't say I'd use every single shooting mode, but when there's an opportunity to kind of expand the horizon and create something unique and fun, this phone has the modes to actually make that happen. So I keep forgetting about the S Pen actually works as a remote shutter for your camera system too, which is really nice. So if you want to take a picture of yourself, you just press on this button right here on the S Pen and it takes a picture. Same thing for video. I turned this video on just by hitting the button right here. You can also switch camera modes by pressing and holding and gesturing left and right, which is a little bit finicky to use, but overall the S Pen is more than just for writing. It's actually a useful tool too. And I think Samsung did a great job with that, but also really hasn't marketed or expanded upon that just yet. Now, battery-wise, we have that same 5,000 milliamp battery, which definitely isn't a bad thing at all. Now, in my personal testing, I found that I can get a whole day and end it with around 20% of battery life. Now, that's around an hour of phone calls, 4 to 5 hours of screen on time, listening to music, hundreds of notifications. I'm an extremely heavy user, as you'd expect, and the S24 Ultra does keep up very well. It charges with a 45-watt charger, and it can charge up to 15 watts wirelessly, which takes an hour and 9 minutes to charge from 0 to 100. Also, of course, there's no charger in the box to even get those speeds, so that's an additional purchase if you can buy a 45-watt charger. Some of my favorite chargers are from Nomad. I'm linking them down below. I guess I need to mention that, I feel like this batch of flagship phones are seeing much faster charging now. So, in my opinion, the S24 is out of date when it comes to charging speeds. And also the Qi 2 charging support is going to be available on phones this year too, which this phone does not support. I hope I see something better on the Z lineup, but I wouldn't hold my breath. I think this is something Samsung's going to do next year. The S24 Ultra is a game-changing phone, but what else can Samsung do to make this phone worth it year over year? And that's the problem facing phones, that they're nearly perfect. Was AI enough? Is that the next thing that's going to make us want to upgrade our phones? I don't think so. Overall, for the money, the S24 Ultra has some competition right now. In fact, most tech reviewers are saying the OnePlus 12 is a massive competitor this year. I don't know if it's totally that simple, but watch my full video comparison right here so you can decide for yourself.